Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Honey, It's Yours.
It's yours.
As you see, I'm joined by my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful co-hosts. I'm Sarah.
Ciao. It's like season 2. It's you. You.
I'm Rianne. I thought we said this side to this side. She looks
Start over.
this side.
At this point, I feel like they just know that we never have it together, so it don't even matter.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I'll just go next. I'm Danae.
And it's just Ashley.
And today's topic, we are delving into yet another topic that plagues our generation.
Ciao.
The topic of chivalry.
And manners.
Yeah, get into it.
So like I think this topic came about because I was struggling with the difference between the two of them because I feel like everyone's talking about how chivalry is dead, and then people don't have manners anymore. But then you get mixed up in what is chivalry, what is manners, like where does it come into play, like in the flirting, courting, being a decent human being, like what are the differences between the two? So
Being a decent human being is crazy.
not because a decent human being, I feel like the base level, like the bar,
It's common sense.
but it's in the pits of hell right
It's
now.
not common. Clearly, it's not common.
It's not common. The bar is low. People don't have no manners. They don't say thank you, good morning, hello, any of that. Like we don't have any community manners skills like when you're walking down the street, like as you would have like back in the day in the Caribbean, or I guess even watching like Mr. Rogers. You don't have that like hi, how are you, type of
I mean,
thing.
is Mr. Rogers based in New York?
It's in the
No.
U.S. I said Caribbean and Mr. Rogers.
Because I'm like, I feel like that is also a New York.
He wasn't British?
No, I'm just talking about in terms of like not walking down the street and saying good morning and stuff. Like that's like a New York thing.
That's a fact.
Versus if you're in the South, it's not necessarily like that to that same degree.
I feel like it depends.
As little as Jersey, bro. I be in Jersey, it's like, good morning. And it's just like, why are you
Yeah,
not
I
talking?
think generally New York is like that, but I feel like depending on which neighborhood you're in, like
Yeah.
at least from me and my block, or like the couple houses around where I live, we say hi and good morning.
Yeah, it's because it's a Caribbean community.
Not necessarily. There's a I call them neighborhood watch, but it's mixed now.
Okay.
It's becoming more mixed now, but we still say hi and good morning.
Yeah, I say Long Island it differs. Like it really depends. Some of the neighbors don't like talking to my dad. Some of them like talking to my dad. It depends. We're the loudest family on the block, so it's like everybody knows our house. So it just depends on who decides to entertain my dad in his conversations.
I guess it goes into the question like, are manners cultural then? Like we're saying in different places that the manners are differently. How are manners cultural among us? Like how does manners manifest in your home culture?
I feel like before we even get there, we have to define
What is manners?
what is manners. Yeah, because it could be one thing to one person. Does anyone have the definition? I could look it up.
I'm on your Google don't work.
Yeah,
It's
we
fine.
know
So
that.
manners, the definition of manners according to Oxford Languages is noun. 1, a way in which a thing is done or happens. 2, a person's outward bearing or a way of behaving toward others. That's the definition of manners.
Well, I guess
So it doesn't have to necessarily be good. It's just a way of
in which
behaving.
you conduct
So
yourself.
you could have bad manners versus
Yes.
good
Well,
manners.
technically you can't have bad manners or good manners. It's just where you're sitting on the other side
on
of
the
it.
side of it,
How you
yeah.
see
Because it's not a positive or negative word in itself.
But I think it's interesting in our context, even like what manners are, because we all grew up in like
Non-Western.
non-Western, yeah, to for lack of a better word, yeah, non-Western homes where manners were the first thing taught to us, and how you approach people, how you speak to people, how you interact with people is a thing that you are like that is like ingrained in you from your childhood. Be polite to authority, be like respect people around you. But I feel like also with us, we've had to learn to sort of break out of some of those manners that were also toxic, like
Yes.
Like,
like challenging authority. That
Well, that's not
that
well
was,
for
that
you.
wasn't taught to me at all whatsoever.
But I
like,
think that's across the board for me too. Like respecting the elders, or even I feel like nowadays not even challenging authority, or even not accepting physical embraces. I've seen that a lot of newer parents allow their child to pick and choose who they want to give a hug to and who they want to accept a hug from, so they can have that personal physical boundary with people. I think that has changed. But go ahead, what you were saying, like
You were
Or-
saying
or-
that,
or
that
back
the
to
authority thing wasn't in.
I mean, it could just be the way I was interpreting what you're saying. Because yes, we have respect, but like challenging authority, you're always allowed to challenge authority as long as you challenge authority with respect.
Yeah. So that's but that boundary, like, if you don't like teach yourself that boundary, it's like interesting how people do genuinely disrespect authority when they're attempting to challenge it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then in the same thing, disrespect is now another one of those things. It's like what is considered disrespect depending on where you grow up and how you grow up.
That is true.
So then goes back to my question: what are manners culturally for each person here?
Now it sounds like it's subjective.
Like for you, like
It is, right.
for your background.
Oh,
how
like you're
you-
asking.
yeah.
Like for me, definitely greeting people when you walk in a space. Like, it's very apparent whether or not you have another word that we use is broad-tupsy. If you walk into a home and you just don't say anything to anybody, or you only greet one person, that's considered bad manners. Well, for lack of a better
Bro,
word.
for us it's bad
For
manners.
us it's bad manners. Another thing
Can
is
we be for real and say it's bad manners? Like, why are you walking into a room and not saying hi to people? That's rude.
But even like not even hi, like it has to be good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good
Like a
night.
structured
that's,
Yeah, like a
that's
structured
phrase.
That's subjective.
There's no hey,
So-
hi.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so yes, like for us, there's no hey, hi with your like authority, like parents, aunts,
Yeah.
uncles. It's supposed to be good morning, good afternoon.
And you can't just answer with a yes or no. You have to be yes.
Yes, so and so.
So or no.
But we getting to the point now. I'm not intentionally doing that, but it's also like you're not about to sit here and make a thing out of something that's not a thing.
Bro, yes.
That's where I've kind of gotten to
I'm
it
crying.
with my parents. Like with that, I remember like one time I was like, "Hi, Dad." This is a long time ago. That's my guy. He watched sometimes. He's my guy, but he was like, I'm like, you know what? I could have said nothing. Like, I came in here happy telling you hi, and it's a problem that I ain't say good afternoon. Or they would, like, we talking about something else, and now that I said hi or whatever, instead of saying that, it's like, you're making, like, we're not even arguing about that. Like, keep the things
the
separate
things,
and
yeah.
stop making things that aren't a thing when it wasn't meant that way. And I think, like, in our house, we're kind of getting to a point, sort of, kind of, where it's like, now, on top of respecting the culture of manners, you're also understanding that it's also generational in a sense. So what was important to you based off of the way you were raised and the situation in which you were raised is going to be different for me because you were intentional about making sure I did not grow up and be raised the way you were raised. So how can I do everything exactly the same way that
Right.
you
Yeah.
were doing it?
I think for me the yes, the first time I got confronted with that was in school with a Caribbean security guard where it was like the end of the day and she was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing down here?" I said, "Yes, huh?" She was like, "Who are you yesing, huh?" I said, "You asked a
gotcha.
question, I couldn't
Yeah.
hear what you said." I've never experienced that before, like as a Caribbean to not just say yes or
Yeah.
just say huh. There's no huh. I was
No.
like, well, my bad.
Because they're like, that. I feel like that's, do you know what, like, country they're from?
No.
I,
She was a black lady.
No, I get it because like I still won't do that. Like I still like very rarely will I just say yes, but it's also the tone in which you said it. Because huh to me is mad rude,
Yeah.
and I know it's
You're
not
down the
intentional.
huh?
Yeah, no. What did you say? Not huh. Like
I can't hear you.
So-
I can do that to
But
my
then you're
friends,
like-
but
even
I
with
couldn't
my
do
friends,
it.
I
couldn't
cringe
do
a
it to
little.
anyone who's older than me.
I
Even
cringe a little, but it's because of the way I was raised. It's like,
In high school.
who you hunt?
Oh yeah.
Nah,
Even
facts.
now, I feel like because we're in a space where, especially like a lot of our family members and the adults and the elders around us, we're in a phase of changing from being a child in their eyes to now becoming an adult. So for them now, being able to receive our responses as someone who's a little more equivalent to them status-wise versus a pick-me, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm not a kid anymore, so like I'm still gonna treat you with respect because you are still older than me. But it's also like I get that same respect because I'm an adult now as well. So kind of that has also been like a challenge with the whole manners situation.
But then does manners change based on who, like the person age? Because let's say, like we're talking about chivalry versus manners, right? We're not gonna say good morning. Like we're gonna phrase the way in which you say good morning and hi to people based on their age to fit the audience, or
Sometimes, like I would be more willing to be casual with y'all because we also have
Our
a different
age
culture
mates.
amongst ourselves
Okay.
versus
Right.
my familial culture, and it's also I had something else along those same lines. But yeah, I'm not gonna greet the same like formalities. It's gonna be a little more casual because we are more casual amongst ourselves.
Right.
There's still gonna be that aspect of respect because as people, I still respect you guys. But I could say, "Hey, what's up" to y'all. I'm not gonna say, "Hey, what's up" to my grandma. Like,
Yeah, I think it's just
Damn.
we don't have that relationship.
yeah, I think it's like I'm always gonna, in general, greeting doesn't change as a whole, and like that's something that's blowing my mind in law school. Like, if it's myself and another person in this study room, how are you just gonna come in here and be like, yo, and start talking to the other person like I'm invisible? I do not wear an invisibility cloak. Like, just say hello, hey, or say excuse me, sorry. How you just don't start
right.
It blows my mind. Like, I just don't understand that concept because even in the more grand scheme, it's like you're supposed to be learning how to network, right? Like, this is like the basics of networking across the board, regardless of where you grew up.
People would know.
Like, say hello. But I think I do, yeah. I think as long as you greet, it will definitely change for the rooms that you're in because that's relationships. Like, with kids, like my kids don't, like my nieces and nephews don't have to tell me good morning. They could say, hi, auntie. I'm like, hey. My mom, I'm going to say, well, sometimes I say, hey, mama, but like, it's the respect to her name. Like, I'm never just going to say hey to my mother because that's my mother. Hey. And honestly, my kid, the yo would never work with me. Like, I'm sorry. My kid telling me,
yo,
walking in the door?
Yo,
I personally see no problem with that.
Like, my husband is going to have to do a number on me with that one. He's going to have to be like, nay, they're getting older. It's fine.
I dab my dad up.
If it's
that's fine if that's the relationship.
I'll be like, that's my guy.
Yo, what's
bro.
up? Yeah, but I feel
Right.
like that's like the relationship that y'all build and cultivate over time. But for me, my kid just, yo, but you're gonna who are you talking to? You better follow it up with a what's good, mama, or something, so I can laugh about it. And
it has to be like a joke
and
kind of
swallow
thing.
it and be like, you see, you lucky that your dad told me I can't make everything a big deal, and I understand that you love me. But I'm sorry, I do believe in some type of respect and boundaries. I just think the intention matters too, because I also know how a yes can turn from a yes VN into a yes, as in I'm gonna acknowledge that you're talking to me, but I don't want to acknowledge that you're talking to me. I think that's the line for me.
It's the tone difference in how you say it.
Because that's what it turns into a lot for me.
Right.
That's when you get the yes who.
Yeah.
Because like I need you to acknowledge that you're listening,
what you
hearing, and
just said.
understanding what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I felt that.
my mom was big on that too. Like when I was growing up, just being like my school was predominantly diverse, like elementary school wise, and a lot of the times when we were hanging out with some of the kids, like a lot of the kids in my class were white. And growing up, and when I go to their house, oh, you can just call me Lisa. You can just call me Catherine. When it comes to my house, it's Miss Rhea, Mr. Ryan. So a lot of the kids, like in my age group, they had trouble figuring out that they couldn't just call my mother Rhea. And my mom would look left and right before she answered any kid who called her Rhea. She said, my name is Miss Rhea or Miss Wilson. And you're going to call me like that. So everyone, once they walked into my house, had to learn that that's how you were going to speak to my parents to address them. Like, they will violate if you call them by their first
Definitely.
name.
Oh my God.
I can only say that, like, when I'm joking around with them. And they know because, like, we have that relationship now. So if it's on some, like, sarcastic, like, I can mess around and play with them in that aspect. But if I'm being, like, if they pissed at me, I'm not going to be like, yo, like, I'm going to get smacked. So I'm probably not going to get smacked. But you know what I mean? That's another aspect of, like, manners. Like, there's a kid in my school, and when he feels like pissing off the teachers, he calls them all by their last name. No Mr., no Miss. So he'll be like, yo, Wilson, what's up? I'm like, young man.
No.
That's not like
the young man.
and it's funny because he's doing it to be funny, but he's also doing it to be disrespectful. Like he's doing it to get a reaction
It's the intention.
out of his exactly. So I think that also goes into the manners thing is if you were just unaware of what you were doing prior to and you just didn't know any better, sometimes that happens also in our life.
That goes perfectly into chivalry, like learning manners and then learning chivalry. So what is chivalry? So what is the traditional definition
sorry.
and then the
I
modern day
forgot
definition?
I'm the dictionary for this episode. Please hold. Oh,
I feel like I was surprised when we read it before though that chivalry back in the day sounded.
Are you really?
But I mean, it's from medieval times with knights and stuff.
So I'll go to the beginning. So the origin, just so that we understand what we're talking about, Middle English from Old French, from medieval Latin. Okay, so let's understand where we're at. So It was the medieval knightly system with its religious, moral, and social code. It was combining of qualities expected of an ideal knight, especially courage, honor, courtesy, justice, and readiness to help the weak. As well, and that was the old definition. Now it's courteous behavior, especially that of a man toward woman.
So for the traditional definition, right, helping out the weak or helping out the weak would have been women, right? Because that patriarchy stuff. But I'm thinking, like, shouldn't that be ingrained in manners, right? So if you're, for example, see somebody that has a lot of things in their hand, wouldn't you help them open the door? And that's where we got this topic of, well, some people consider that as chivalrous to open up the door, but it's like, no, you just have manners, because if I'm walking through a door, I'm gonna hold it open for you.
So as we just had the other conversation and like leading into this, technically, now that I'm thinking about it, chivalry and manners is the same thing. The difference is just not even who's doing it, the group. Like, chivalry was the manners of the time. That was manners, like, of that time.
Yeah,
now
that makes sense.
We have manners, but we associate our manners like culturally where we grew up and all of those things, plus the American manners, aka the history, which is chivalry. So technically it's actually the same thing. But yeah,
we use those two words a lot.
I mean, we definitely think they're different now because we have both to look at. But like the thought process, technically, back then they didn't have manners. The word was chivalry. Yeah, you are not chivalrous. How dare you?
But I think back then the chivalry was toward was men's actions only. I don't think you would call, because even now, would you call around men. Correct, but even now, would you call a woman chivalrous?
No. I don't think chivalry is for women. But that's
what I'm saying. That's what
I'm saying. No, I agree with everything we're saying. I'm just saying, like, the thought process.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's true.
Like, it would never have been for women back then because women did not matter.
True.
And that's how we ended up
here.
Yeah.
So now, sorry, go ahead.
No, go back to what you said, like, you would not call a woman chivalrous, right? So, and you said that chivalry is for men, but then we have this whole debate about, like, is chivalry dead? So then, do men don't have manners anymore, or is it just like we have turned that word into something that is beyond manners, where it's just for a phase in time where a man is courting a woman?
So for me, I'll answer and then I'll shut up so everybody else can answer. I feel like I've been talking a lot already, but I think. Now, today, I do think that they're different. Manners is just the way you're supposed to operate in a room regardless of race, identity, like whatever. I think just the way you're supposed to operate. Chivalry, for me, I think it goes down to gender norms in society and the role that I expect a man to play as a man. I'm not talking about relationship. Like, I think chivalry is platonic. And then, on top of that, I now think courting is a separate thing. Courting is, as a woman, I can court a man can court me. Chivalry, I think, is what I think of when I think of the man's role in society to women. And then manners is just how people need to act.
That makes sense. I think with the chivalry part of like how a man is supposed to act in society, it goes from small things like shifting where the girl is walking on the sidewalk, whether it's your friend or your girlfriend, or like, just make sure she's walking on the inside. I think that, to me, is like just a small sign of chivalry. What?
I have beef with this because let's be completely honest. If a car is coming, that car is hitting both of us.
It's the principle, not the car. I don't care about that.
So what? He's gonna get hit first? Because
at the end of the day, where in New York, the inside of the street is actually more dangerous. So it's like, they sit on the stoop, they sit by the buildings.
Like, you know, be so for real. Like, if the car's coming.
Okay, but if the water splash from the car.
All right, so a situation like that.
Even that, I've seen a guy who was like, well, I'll probably jump out the way and it'll still hit you.
Like just by reactions and
people like that, but people who answer these type of questions like that, I already know they already think a little certain way about how they treat women. Like, they on that equality thing, and I ain't totally with that whole other stuff. But yeah, that whole...
You're not with equality?
No, I believe in equal opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I believe that men and women will never and are never equal. We are not the same. Okay? God did not create me man and woman. This is not a man and woman. This is a woman, okay? And there is a man.
And that's going to be two different
things, right?
I'm not independent. Nope.
Right.
Don't expect those things
So,
out of me.
I believe that everyone should have the equal opportunity to be and to do what they would like.
Right.
Right? So if I would like to get a job and earn as much as the next man next to me, I should be able to have the opportunity to. Okay? That's what I believe in. And the whole the quality thing. I'm not trying to be equal to you. I want a man to open the door.
Right. So I'm saying like chivalry, a man acting in society, that's like a small thing, like somebody, like him opening the door, him walking on the sidewalk, like small things like that. Maybe like, I don't know.
But are they small? Like open up a door?
It's so like
I said, like car door. Like he pulling up to take out on a date, and he pressed the button for you to open the door, or as he walking around to open the door. That's not small. So men don't feel like it's small to them because they feel like they can just stay in the seat, or some people feel like they have to go all the way to the door to walk you down the stairs into the car. Like,
so I think this is where chivalry and manners, not even manners, this is where chivalry and the way in which you were raised, like culturally, comes to a crossroads. Because that kind of like, when I think of that and like what we just posed, I'm thinking of the making of a man. And what I define to be the makings of a man, like what I expect my man to do. And I feel like a lot of the things that we expect our men to do, it's not a matter of bigger, well, it is a matter of big or small, but what is big to you and small to you can be determined by the way in which you were raised and the things that you saw around you.
That is true.
So I'm the type, I'll give you the grace the first time. Or the second, like, because I understand that everybody may not have been raised the same way as me, so they may not even know the things that I want or I expect. And if I'm choosing to go out with them where they are now, I have to be willing to somewhat meet them where they are because I chose to go out with them. Like, I didn't have to do that.
Right.
So I have gone on dates where, like, guys have not gotten out the car to open the door for me. But they're a little bit low on the list than the guys who have. Because for me, in my head, that's the making of a man. But then it's also a conversation that we had where I was just like, yeah, no, this is how men in my day-to-day treat me regardless of dating or not. Yeah. So it's not even like, oh, I expect you to do this for me as a man. It's just, this is my life.
Right.
Why isn't the door open yet? It's almost like when a kid don't know any better than what they know, and now you put them in another environment and they're like, is this not the way it should be?
Right.
So I think that's where my head kind of goes to with the whole thing.
I think it's an interesting point that you give like the perspective of like you and your, like how you grew up and what you've seen men do around you. But also I feel like nowadays we don't allow the men to learn that about us, and we're so quick to like be like, oh, nah, he's cut off because he didn't open the door, or he's cut off because he didn't do this, or he's this and he's this and he's this. But like, you have to understand, like you said, people aren't raised how we were raised, and the men around us aren't those men. So it's like that difference also, I think, creates the too much expectations out of a man, and or even too little of expectations out of a man, and then the person themselves.
I think it's not only that they weren't raised like that, but they're also not, I would say, like, you know how, like, I guess ingrained or socialized. They're not socialized to be like that, especially in today's time, right? Where they are saying that we're equal. You can open the door for yourself. A women are independent, and they can do what they can do as much as a man can. And chivalry is dead. Whereas, like, yes, they're not taught and they're not socialized outside of the home to feel like they need to learn something more than what they're, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, if in your home that your dad doesn't open up the door, right, for your mother, and then when you go outside and you're starting to date or you're starting to interact with other men in your age range, they're not doing that thing either, so you don't see it as anything wrong to not do. But then if the outside was different, where it's like that influence to be, that outside influence teaches you to be more chivalrous than what you were taught at home. But like, maybe I'll start questioning, hey, everybody outside is opening the doors for women. Maybe I should, or maybe I should at least have a conversation about that. But I think that is lacking now.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like in that same vein, I feel like because of that lack, women feel like they need to step up. Like, women are shooting their shot more. Women are showing that they can perform the same as a guy now. So it's like, it's almost like to fill that gap instead of
that void.
Yeah, you're stepping up and doing it more. Like, I feel like, I don't know if we spoke about it on here before once, but we did talk about like whether or not we'd be willing to shoot our shot and why and what that looks like. And it just, I think because of like the societal feeling of equality and feeling like whatever he can do, you can do too. So it's like, why does he have to be always initiating? Why does he always have to be the one to open the door? Why is he the one planning all the dates? Like, you're as equally invested in this as him. You should be doing that same kind of thing. And I feel like that narrative has started to get pushed a lot. So a lot more women, especially in like the New York area, are a lot more brave. And I guess, I don't know, I am too, because back before I was in my situation, I was shooting left and right just because I didn't feel like enough guys were shooting for me. So I was like, let me go get it myself. And if more men were opening doors and showing that courting initiative, then I wouldn't feel like I had to start shooting my shots.
But then if it's not courting, right? If, like she said, like if chivalry should be platonic, right? Then where do you differentiate when? See, this is the problem that I have sometimes, where it's like, I'm just being nice and I have manners. I'm not flirting with you.
Okay.
Now, when you get into a situation where it's like, because I opened the door for you, now you think I want you.
Yeah.
Right, but see, that's not even that.
I think that's the issue with our generation now, is because the two sides are like just going further apart than coming together. So it's like when a woman is finally nice to a man, it's
Or
like, oh, now
vice
she
versa,
want me,
yeah.
bro. Or when a man is nice to a woman now, it's, oh, he want me. But
It's like, no, I have manners.
a lot of times, literally just like exactly, it's just,
So then
it's just manners.
That's what plays.
But
my
I
mind.
also
Like,
feel like-
is it chivalry manners? Because in chivalry, in the courting sense or platonic sense, or wherever how you want to define it, because we already talked about the thought process between manners and chivalry, but it comes to the whole thing of manners and chivalry. Are you just showing that you have good manners, or are you chivalrous and are you trying to court me?
But I feel like that's where
It's the juggle.
I feel like that's where I don't want to, like, it's not this simple. I'm gonna explain, but that's where like genuine communication comes into play, right? Because we're in a phase, hopefully, like we're having these conversations to spark more conversations and to get our generation thinking differently. So there's a learning curve. I don't think. I mean, it might be like in that moment, it might be a little embarrassing, but there's nothing wrong with saying, I actually don't want you. I was just being nice. Because in that same sense, it's like, oh shoot,
That never goes well.
that
Literally.
yeah, but
Like,
that's
nowadays,
the problem that never goes well is a problem. Like that's like we're having that conversation, but then even more than that, there was something you said and I wanted to. It was the same tone and I lost it. But it was really just like that idea of we're relearning how to go about doing something. There's nothing wrong with that, and then there's nothing wrong with telling somebody what your expectations are now too, because a guy who maybe was not raised in situations where we are raised may think, I did something, I opened the door, and you have to tell him, if you want me,
Humble yourself, baby.
right,
Humble
and
yourself,
right,
baby.
and it's the communication and the way in which that conversation was had, because I've told many guys, you open it, like that's nothing, like to me that's not even romantic.
That's basic.
Like I've literally told guys, this is great, and this is literally just the expectations I have for any man in my presence. Like, how do you get a date with Danae? This is not it. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I'm saying that like there's a learning curve to everything, because a guy may not know. Like for them, that was what they did, and they only do that one day,
And it's worked in the past,
And,
exactly.
right? And I'm just like, that's cool, but I don't think that's something for everybody. Like,
So then
for me,
that whole is worked in the past, and should women just raise the bar?
Yes. as
but
a
that's what I'm
collective, yes.
saying. You have to, but you have, in order to raise the bar though.
The bar is
Hell.
the bottom. Like, the bar is the bottom.
But the bar is at the bottom from our perspective. That's my point. My point is you have to a certain extent, and I'm not saying you don't have to teach everybody. It's not your job to educate the entire nation. But you have to kind of be, like, you can't just tell a guy they're trash and then not tell them why. Or not tell them, here's what you could have done differently.
Right, okay, yes. Perfect.
Because a lot of people be like, Danae, you have high standards. And I don't feel like I have the high standards of women that I know.
Yeah. That is
But
true.
it's comparative. So you have to be able to say, no, that's not. This was great, but this ain't it. This ain't it.
I really like how this is all comes down to communication and, like, again, bridging that gap between all of us. Like, I think nowadays, like, it's so difficult because I think women are learning to operate like men and playing the game, like literally think like a man and playing that game, and we're like doing it bad. we're getting worse at it, and like not even worse. We're getting too good at the game and making society worse.
No,
I don't. You can argue with it in a second, but I also think men are like noticing that and then like sitting back and being like, she gonna come to me.
Yeah.
She gonna come to me regardless. She got it. And I want to show you to ladies, take your man out on the date. Definitely, like treat your man perfectly nice. But also, they're not like, there's no more chase because now we're the ones that are regrouping at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
I think it's about like in that you have to set the standard you want though. Hold on.
Because you don't have to chase if you don't want to.
And I say that as somebody who shoots the shot, and like shooting your shot is a slippery slope, right? Because sometimes you start and then they think it's on you, and it's like, no, I'm gonna give you an inkling, and then
you gotta take it.
Then go. Like I'm letting you know that you have I'm letting you know for sure that you have the option of me. Like I'm making myself available to you. But now once I've made myself available to you, if you're interested, you reciprocate. But also in that sense, if you're choosing to shoot your shot and you're choosing to show somebody that you think they're worth your time, you have to make that investment, and that goes either way depending on how you're dating. So if you're expecting a man to date first all the time, if you're waiting for a man to come to you, then you can expect a little bit more out of that man in the beginning. And then when you're ready to show him, yeah, I'm invested in this too, then I start courting as well.
Yeah.
But if I was invested from jump, you can't be shooting, and then want him to go the whole time.
No.
He probably didn't even think about you that way
right
until you came to him. So
Right.
I think you got to think about those things.
Going back to what you were saying, Sarah, about how the gap and that women have learned to operate as men to fill the void, like Rianne was saying, fill the void. So I feel like a lot of women have become accustomed to operating in their masculine, so they're not even requiring these things from their men, whether it's courting or platonic, and that's why the bar is low, I think, because if I'm gonna open the door, I don't need no man to open the door. I got two able arms, I can do it myself, right? So it doesn't even allow the man to meet a bar that is not in the pits of hell. But but in response to like telling people that they're trash, right? I always say this again and again.
It's probably been every episode since we started this
men
podcast.
And women are trash, but humans are amazing. Like, I just feel like, I lost it. It's gonna come back though. Okay, I lost it, but I'm asking another question. So, do women need to stop opening the door so they can raise the bar?
It's not stopping. It's like you don't have to stop it completely, but allow it to happen. Like once or twice. It's not gonna kill you.
It's coming back.
That's worse. It's not gonna kill you.
Wait, and right, this whole we're playing a game, right? It's a game. This is the thing I don't like about courting, dating, that whole thing, is the way that we view it as a game. And I feel like because we view it as a game, that's why trash things happen. Because we're trying to win.
Right. That's the context.
If we're trying to win, someone's going to lose.
Yeah.
Right? And because someone loses, then you call the next person trash. And it's the reason why we have trash stories and we have a whole bunch of scenarios about trash situations happening, because we're viewing dating as a game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, who's gonna say who's I texted you, so I'm gonna wait a little bit.
Who's gonna double text?
Who's gonna reach out first? Who's gonna shoot the shot first? Who's gonna reciprocate? Like,
right. And it's like tallying up the score and seeing who wins. But it's really not like that.
And then, I paid on this date. I'm not gonna pay the next date. I'm gonna wait for her to do this.
Y'all would never catch me do that, guys. I'm not doing that.
Why are we playing a game? Because I'm gonna stare at you and I'm gonna look at the bill. I'm gonna look at you, especially if I know this is a date. Because sometimes people don't making it clear. If I know this is a date, I'm looking at the bill. I'm saying thank you.
You talking about you looking at the bill? No, the bill don't pass my way.
No, when the waiter comes and puts it down on the table, right in front of him, I'm looking, stare, because there is no fake reach. They know that you're doing a fake reach, so why are we playing this game that you know I'm not gonna reach for nothing for real? Right? Why are you waiting for me to reach for something? Real talk, guys.
Any guy that wants to take me out, don't expect me to pay. Here's the thing: if I feel like paying, I will by the end of the date, but don't expect it. Like,
this is not a game. I don't feel like this is a game.
Every day?
Life is not a game.
If I want to take you out, I will tell you.
Okay.
Like, I will take a guy out. Yeah, I will take a guy out on a date. Okay. But also, like, let's say we've gone on a couple dates or whatever. Even I paid on a first date before, but it's because like I genuinely had a good time and like we went to 2 spots. So he paid, and then we got to the second spot, and I was like, nah, I got it. He's like, what? And I'm like, I genuinely enjoyed that date. It was a great time. And not that it was his reward, but it was
like, I'm talking about a game.
It wasn't that it was the right word, but it was just to show him that I'm as invested in the process of getting to know him at this point as well. Like once I start doing things like paying, offering to take you out, telling you like where I want to go, like initiating those things, I have become invested in the process.
Yeah.
Because I also date people. The first date for me is you may not know who and where your man may come from. So I may not always go into a date like, oh yeah, I'm really, really, really trying to meet this person.
I agree with that.
As a fake reacher, don't fake reach unless you really want to pay.
Tell your story.
Because the men today, the men of today's society, well, not today, because I don't go on dates with other men anymore, but the men of yesterday,
Last year.
and the men of the previous years, if you fake reach, they're going to just sit there and watch you pay, just like how I should sit there and watch them pay. They will sit there and say, that's what's up. And because that's a prize for them because of this whole equality thing.
Yo, that's what's up.
I think it's petty. I just think it's petty. And like one of my closest friends, he called me to ask me about this, and I literally told him, I said, you called me to have an argument. Like I could tell by your tone that you already knew my response to this because we used to date, and you called me to have an argument. And I feel like it's that line now. Like guys, once upon a time were willing to do it, but now they feel like if we want to be equal, then we can't be courted or have respect, or not have respect, but it be given that sometimes.
But when you do that, you set an expectation in the man's head that like, okay, she got me, when it's supposed to be like mutual in that case.
We got each other.
We got each other. Like,
but then that goes into the whole like we were talking about the chase and like the courting thing, right? Because now women is shooting. I feel like because chivalry is dead. Chase is dead too, because chase and chivalry was synonymous at one point, where it's like in the courting realm, not the platonic, where if the man is exhibiting certain manners to show that he's interested in you. So he's making sure that he's texting how you sleep, texting to make sure, how'd you pass your day?
I'm
like,
sorry, hold on. Rianne, please make that a reel and like repeat it. Like the fact that she said that out her
She
mouth.
admitted it, because I don't know if y'all remember from the last episode.
I'm saying this is the manners.
WYD.
There are some manners that are exhibited. That doesn't mean that it has to be accepted. You understand? Okay, so these are the manners.
But when they start to exhibit and you don't accept, and then they stop exhibiting,
You fell.
Because guess what happened when I didn't accept? I stopped exhibiting also.
So then it's just done
Let's
up.
not talk about me.
It's just
Anyway,
done up.
We need a whole episode on Ashley. Respectfully.
Back to what I was saying. Because men were doing these chivalrous acts and chasing until the woman's like, okay, now I'm going to reciprocate because I like this. I feel like that whole thing of the game is that because both people are chasing, so it's like
There's no
chase.
Right.
It's just the game.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Because if you're shooting your shot, so that's you chasing, right? To me, I'm not talking about, because some people don't like the word chase because they think that you're running after somebody that's running away from you. I'm not talking about somebody's running away from you because that's creepy and that's harassment. I'm talking about like going after what you want, right? And being the first person to initiate that. If a woman is shooting and the man is shooting and everybody's taking shots, right? There's no more chasing.
I guess. I think you can shoot your shot and let a guy know. Yeah, because that does happen. I shot my shot, and
that's what I'm saying. You're pretty much you're letting them know that they have the opportunity to if they choose.
Correct.
But I feel like people hear that and they assume like, oh, just because I let you know that I have some type of interest, that it's gonna be easy to get me. And I feel like that's not necessarily the case. Like depending on where you are in that realm, because like one guy that I shot my shot with or whatever, like we knew each other. We went to school together. We had a very surface level relationship though. So it was a message. What? You trying to figure out who I'm talking about? Mind you, is this? But it was like I was like I would like for us to hang out. Cool. But then from there, you still have to go through a whole process. And in that whole process, I can still determine that I don't like you, that you ain't doing enough, that you still got to put work in if you really want me, because I was interested in getting to know you, but that didn't mean I was interested in, like, I'm not saying, yes, please make me your girlfriend now today. I don't know. I just feel like you miss out on opportunities sometimes waiting for men to do everything for you, because I don't need a man to do everything for me, but I'm not going to do everything for him either.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that. But I also, like, again, some people aren't going to come to you, and you're going to run into people in public and be like, you know, that could be my potential husband. So to me, I mean I play this as a game sometimes. I be shooting my shot just regularly, just for fun. But sometimes it lands. But when it lands, then it's like, okay, now you know I'm interested. It's on you now.
Okay, question, right? Because I always
She
ask
about
this
to bust my ass.
whenever this topic comes up of women, you know, doing the the
Take
courting
time.
thing, the shooting the shot thing, right? Because for me, there's a difference between shooting your shot and making yourself available, right? Positioning yourself to be available. I feel like women don't really, from what I've seen, I can only talk about personally, I don't see women shooting their shot, except for, matter of fact, I've seen you do that. Shooting the shot, like sliding into DMs, and this is the actual shot, not this is like a slide, positioning myself in a way for you to talk to me, right? I feel like that's different than shooting your shot, be like, hey, or you did it too, but it's like, hey, I want to go out with you. I don't see a lot of women doing that. I feel like a lot of women think that they're shooting their shot by positioning themselves in a way. But
Oh, okay. I think
I
I get
see
what you're
position
saying.
yourself
I can agree
though.
with
I like to position myself.
I don't like shooting shots. That's not my thing. That's not my forte, right?
It's like
But
instead
I
of
position myself.
instead of shooting the shot, you just opening up the gym so they know that they can come in
Let them
and
know
make their
it's
own
a-
shots.
it's
What is the
It's
difference?
available for business.
It is a different.
You are
it's
welcome
how-
in these
What is
parts.
what?
The
Okay.
difference is
Hold on.
look,
Okay, no, hold on.
sliding into the
My
DM.
approach is if I see a story or something, I'll swipe up or I'll say something.
Okay,
Cool.
no.
But what is the
what
something?
are you saying?
What is the something?
It's not the no
Yo?
emoji. No.
No, it's just making yourself available. Because now he knows he can text
Why
you back.
is it available? No,
I
okay.
swipe up like,
okay,
hey.
wait. It was okay. It was somebody I didn't know, and he didn't know me. But I saw him with somebody's story, and I said, hey, you're really cute. I think we should get to know each
That's
other.
a shot.
That is a shot.
Okay, now my next question.
Okay, now
Liking the story is not a shot.
That's just
yeah,
that's
run
not
that.
even making yourself available.
Sending an emoji is not a shot.
run that.
I guess I would
Listen.
go even a step further though, and I'm saying this as somebody who's somewhat on your side. Like I'm a little bit on both
Please,
sides,
someone take
right?
my side.
Because my question, like, I've told someone I want to go out with you, but in that case, I was the one interested in going out with somebody who I did not know whether they were interested in going out with me yet.
Okay.
Which means I was willing to initiate the date and pay for it because that's something I wanted to do.
right.
That's a shot.
That's a shot.
So
Positioning yourself for me is I'm letting you know I'm available. I like to get to know you. We're talking. What? Not even that. That's a little bit.
That's
shady.
more of a
That's
shot.
But like positioning yourself is making like I'm here.
Making sure that you know
I'm rubbing. We're
Like,
flirting.
hey,
you know.
I'm here.
I'm here. But then you don't.
Are y'all serious right now?
But then you're not doing anything
So
more
serious.
because
You're
you want
flirting.
you want to see are
It's
they
flirting.
actually interested in
Yeah.
getting
So now
to
what
know
if you-
you?
So off camera, we have to talk about this because there's a situation in my head right now.
now say person X.
No, because if they end up watching this, I'm not.
Bro, they wouldn't even know because
We
it's like
gonna-
5
we
people.
gonna-
It's
All
like
right.
5 people. in your
Anyways,
DMs
so
anyway.
it's energy back and forth. No shooting of my shot, and he hasn't shot his shot yet. But it's bare eyes interaction, something of my story,
time.
saying
It's giving position.
It's giving
slash
waste of
Very
time.
position.
saying all these things, like looking at me crazy. Like, bro, like why
It's
you
a good thing you got
eyeing
3
me?
of them.
You see, like I can't stand you. But it's like
So then you guys are just playing the position game. You
that's
guys are not
aggravating.
Well,
to me,
because
hold
a
on,
woman
hold
that
on.
as a
Time
woman
out.
that takes shots, that is aggravating to you.
Correct,
So we
because
confirm.
I okay.
And
So I have,
for
I have
him, he's like he's
Yeah.
he's
He's warming it up.
He's
Oh, he's stressing you out on purpose.
It's completely intentional.
That man knows what he's doing.
And this
it's
is
like
it's all talking about the trashness of the game because
Yeah.
they're playing the game.
I'm not trying
Sorry, I'm
to
screaming.
play any
Oh.
games, and it's like we.
So then why don't you shoot the
So why
shot?
don't you just tell him I'm not trying to play
I
any
don't
games
want
with
to
you,
be
so what is it?
embarrassed. This I go to
Boom.
school.
That is the reason why women don't shoot their shot most of the time.
That's also the reason why men these days try to fall back because we have become so strong and independent and all these other things that we be embarrassing them.
Okay,
But also
wait,
be true.
wait.
It's
Some of y'all really deserve embarrassment. I apologize. Y'all really earn the embarrassment. But a lot of the times, women are now going crazy on y'all. Sorry on behalf of them.
Oh, not only
I'm
are
sorry.
they afraid
No?
to be embarrassed because
Yeah.
of how we shun them or move them away, but also I've heard this from some guys with like, for a long time we have made it seem as though men approaching us is harassment. So they're afraid that if I go up to her, it's gonna be taken as
I've heard that.
You can't blame. Okay. Again, there's two sides to that same argument
Right.
because on the other hand, men are weird nowadays. You can't, bro.
They
Walking
are.
up on the
Some
street,
of them are.
walking up in the
and
street,
grabbing my arm.
in the club. Why are you touching my hip
Chasing
to
me
move?
in
Just
the
say
street?
excuse me into my ear. What's up
And
with
it's like
you?
it's so much body
Ah.
higher.
Oh my God, I remember we went to the bar. Oh, we went to Rogers Garden. That's a great spot. The guy, his breath was so hot. Oh my God, I love your. I can't even speak how he was speaking, but I felt the breath from my shoulders. Right? He was talking about my glasses. He's like, "Oh my God, what do you do?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an accountant." He's like, "Oh, you don't look like an accountant. You look like
hell does
something
that
creative,
mean?
like because of your glasses or whatever." And then as he walked away, I told him, "His breath is mad hot."
Or like when we went, I don't even think you were there. When we went to
Oh my gosh.
the bar, not the bar, the club in Vegas for your birthday, and I think you were in the bathroom, or Nelly was in the bathroom. Somebody was in the bathroom, and the man, so you know, like that black dress I got from Emma, the one that's like,
My God.
yeah, everything sits perfect in that
ASMR is
dress.
crazy.
It does. The man passing,
Brushing.
I'm 5
Yeah.
feet tall, guys. So what that means is that everybody's elbow is at like my head. Like every grown tall man is. So there's no way that your hand accidentally grazes anything below my belly button.
It's a
It was intentional. And then he looked at me crazy. And I was like, you really don't want to get into it. And then the guy was like, oh, she's not from here. No, and we were fighting that whole weekend. Like, we were fighting that whole weekend, so I was really ready to go. But it's like, come on. Like, that's the drag of it. So I do get, like,
There's two.
not too much.
Right.
Not too much.
But you know what I think it is sometimes? I don't think you also had this conversation before and you came into the group chat with it about some people don't know their lane or like their rank. As respectfully, as respectful as it can be. I'm so sorry.
You
as
thought you could.
respectful.
You
Like some
keep it
people,
up.
us,
we're
like,
up there.
like for example, right? Mostly women rate themselves on a lower scale than men. Men think of themselves very highly, so and they are socialized to go after what they want, right? So they are more willing to shoot for something that's above their level.
Humble yourself, please.
That's where their job application. But I'm talking about women. This is most times with women. They're socialized to be like this, right? So now, when a woman that says above your level come and tell you, "Hey, no," you they have a complex sometimes.
Not
And then,
offended.
now it's, I'm embarrassed. No, sir, you shot above your level.
As a 3, you should shoot no higher than a 5.
But I feel like, where are your bros at?
No, it's a game to them too. Because they're gonna be weak.
No, but
Yes, 'cause
that's
they're
not
laughing.
your bro. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Next
okay,
man go and try and
forget
sit
the
on
shooting
YouTube.
too high, right? Because like, no, you thought so. Nobody can knock you for your thoughts and
Right.
for trying. Because you know, maybe
I
she
will.
was that girl.
God,
That,
you've gotten nicer.
no. I've always thought this way. Just because I'm saying these, everything I say is not a reflection of my specific thought on the thing. I just have an awareness, right?
kidding.
So you short your like you fine. When you come back to your bro, embarrassed or whatever,
Keep it above.
your bro and
Yes,
tell you like, yo, bro, for real though,
It's like,
or like it's not that deep.
Or keep it
Or
up.
like-
It wasn't her.
Her,
It was you.
Like,
Let him know that.
Where is that? Because I feel like
Accountability, right.
that's a lot of the issues we have now, like across the board. Chivalry, when you correct, if there's nobody else to validate somebody that they respect and understand to validate what you're saying, it comes off a different way. Even in like these situations where a lot of times we feel uncomfortable in public when guys come up to us, is because a lot of y'all act disgusting, and I don't feel like there's enough of the right ones to help back me up when you start to act. I'm 5 feet. Like, I could kick you certain places, but like at the end of the day, like I don't feel safe a lot of times to know that there's another black man that's
Just in
gonna
case
come
it goes
and
on.
check you. Or even like this other guy that I'm cool with, I love him so much, and he's tried to date me, and I calmly dubbed it respectfully done it because I really love him as a person. I'm just genuinely not interested. But how many times you gonna say, oh, so when I'm not taking you out on a date, or you're gonna make the subs about the other guys and all this other stuff when it's like, where's your bro? Like, you didn't tell your bro about this dynamic yet?
Did you
for him to
did
tell
you
you
consult before
for him
you
to tell you like, yo, I think she's being serious?
But the bros be
Please consult, or else you will become a screenshot.
No,
Ooh.
really. End up
You will
in
be
the
sent in the chat.
You'll be
What
sent in the
Maria
chat.
said.
immediately.
And you'll be labeled a name that has, you will
3
never
kids,
know.
what's good?
And
Never.
she's
never know who you're talking
notorious
about.
for names, bro.
I'll give you a
Let's
nickname
go through
so
some of them right
quick.
now.
So
Let's see
quick.
some of the names because I
3
don't.
kids, like,
I don't
Nah,
delete
3 kids
contacts.
was always funny to me
I don't
because he
block
ended up
them. I
seeing
I just leave them.
but you don't know about it's him.
No,
We have the fool, the football player, the gap. He had a gap. The illustrator, the old artist, the security guard, Flappy Bird, Frat Boy, Shaku Shaku. We got some emojis, Treesh.
So again, do you want to end up like that?
You don't wanna be him.
Consult your bros
I'm
before
telling
you
you,
do some stupid
Bro,
crap.
what's that movie? Think Like a Man. There was a scene in the beginning when they were all at the bar chilling, and Kevin Hart was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go slide on this girl." And they're all like, "Yeah, bro, go ahead." And she dubbed him, and they're weak. And then the next bro at the table was like, "All right, it's my turn."
That's not
And
the
he
bro.
went and scooped him up.
Oh,
I don't remember the name of the actors, but
Hold
one of them was
on.
Kevin Hart.
Hold on.
They be egging them on.
You saying this is a movie, but this is real life.
That's not your bro.
Yo, this is real life. Wow. So one time I was at a party, right? And most of the parties I go to, I love observing the guys in their groups because they're hyping each other up to go talk or to go catch a wine. And I really want to be that person, like, just go. You know,
right?
Hold on.
But
But
wine makes sense. If you gotta do all that just to catch a wine, imagine trying to call somebody.
and then, okay, so going back to, right?
It's Kevin.
I didn't see that the whole hyping up was happening behind me. One dude came, said, "Nah, I'm not really trying to dance." Right? The next dude came, looked, I will dance with this man.
Oh my god!
When the song is over, and I saw the group come back, the collective come back together, I said,
You got done up.
I said, this is so embarrassing. I felt so bad.
That's foul.
But at the end of the day, it goes back to the know your level, bro.
Understand what you are capable of achieving.
And
on
your
own.
bros is wrong for that. He should have never
was
went
set
up after you.
It was a strategic setup. They gotta send somebody OD. So the next person that comes, all right, he better than the last one.
Oh.
So he got a chance.
I didn't think about. Wow, I didn't.
It's
think
a setup. Men are not as dumb as we think, bro. They be thinking. They still dumb.
But that's not your man's.
No.
That's not your man's.
It's all for jokes till the next day.
Damn. But
Truly.
then imagine, right? Now that situation. Let's see if it plays out. Now you actually interested in the friend or whatever. Now you know your friend like me.
Mm-hmm. You're not a little
It don't-
concerned. You're not a little concerned.
Was it really? I mean, I guess in that specific situation though, it was more so just like an interest.
Like
True.
not like a
I
developed-
think it's weird when people like. I mean, I understand having a crush, but like I think it's weird when you could have such strong feelings and such a strong emotional attachment to somebody that you never had a genuine conversation with. That is scary to me.
Bro,
Like,
it's
why
a
would you
story
talk to her?
time.
You know I wanted to talk to her. Bro, what? You never spoke to her. You don't know that girl. Go ahead.
Yo.
I'll be quiet.
And this is why I love having brothers. Bro, this is story time, bro. This guy was fully in a relationship with another girl. They're on the couch with the bros, right, talking, whatever, playing the game. And he's talking about some other girl, like, yo, I really like her. I'm really about to, like, break up with this girl because I'm really about to be with her and everything. Like, never had a conversation with Shorty. What?
Just seen her
But a deep crush.
You have
from the
created
pits
this picture.
to the point where he broke up with the girl he was with, is now with the girl, and they've been together in a relationship for a minute now.
But I just feel like you, like,
Bro, it worked, but that's
but I still, like, for me, like, there's still something weird about that because it's like, you saw her, something about her piqued your interest, which is fine. Like, you've created this mystery around trying to get to know this person. You see how they interact. You love them in a room. They're right. No, it's legit. And then you have now created this picture of who this person is.
That's how.
That's scary.
That's how women get.
But
That's how women get attacked. Respectfully.
That is scary. That is
That's exactly how. That's a really good point.
No, but that's how women get put in dangerous situations. Like when
You're
we're
gonna read another case about that. He literally he rents the apartment underneath her to hear what she's doing before he attacks her because she's in this whole.
But
thing.
see, like, and then the mentality, the when you go to the psychology behind that, it's because they saw the woman, they created that fake idea in their head that woman could be the woman of their lives, wifey material, all this stuff. When you like just stalked her entire life, but you don't actually speak to the girl.
And the sense of entitlement that you created around that.
Exactly. Even
that
in the
person.
club when we're out, people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you could be in my life forever." But bro, what? You just saw me an hour ago.
When I went on the Parkway this year for Labor Day, like this boy was harassing me.
Bro,
he
like,
followed me. He kept finding me on the Parkway.
That's not chivalry.
And I'm
Just
literally
saying.
standing up. Like at one point, I'm standing up, and he's like, "So you're really not gonna dance with me?" And I'm just like, I was starting to get concerned, like legitimately starting to get concerned. I'm like, I'm not dancing with anybody today.
And this is why I feel like men need to have some women friends, right? Because they would help you get the ones that you want to reach out for and give you some gems. Because I'm not gonna say where we were, because going up to a woman and saying, "I want to take you out, do like crab legs," is crazy to me. Think about it, Sarah. You were right there when he said it. That's crazy to me.
that to you?
Yes.
Do you like crab legs?
I'm gonna take you out. You know, seafood. You like crab legs?
I'm talking
This is a joke? Right in the face, I said, "This is a joke." You're joking, right? You remember? Yo, I'll text you.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that group of men was not okay though.
But how is
There's
it?
something
Why
wrong.
crab
What was
legs?
he? Wait, on a scale of 1 to 10, what he look like?
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know the person?
No.
No, that's why I don't.
Like,
what was,
outside
what
of
was his
everything.
For
number?
me, okay, first of all, he's not taller than me.
Okay. Well, that's an automatic 7.
That's what I'm saying about knowing who you're. Bro, if you're shorter than me, respectfully, no.
Sorry.
Get
What if he really got the charisma to back it up? Like some of the tiny king could really bring it.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm waiting for somebody to back me up. No.
I'm still waiting for his number.
I feel like those situations, like if you have that, you have that, and it worked for you. But I'm sure that you would still end up telling that person, "You lucky you made it through because you never would have." I don't want to date a short person, and I'm short. I need my kids to have a fighting chance. So
Somebody shorter than you.
I don't want to date anybody that's like 5'7" under. How is that helpful?
Bad. You know,
So poor son.
He don't got a number.
he ain't got, bro.
Because really and truly, if he was
I
like a
like
9 and his line is crab legs, I'm going for the crab legs. 'Cause he's
Alright,
a
you go on this for free.
He was shorter.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt that, but I really have to.
Than me. Oh.
You go on dates for eats, right? That statement in itself, I feel like is a root of a lot of the issues we now have with courting and dating and the
Chivalry.
whole
It's
a free meal.
Because I feel like they're saying the equality thing as like a cover for a lot of them just feeling like, nah, y'all just be using us, and like their feelings are hurt.
It's true. It's true. This is why I say everybody trash, because women will really go out with you.
Like I need to eat today,
I
and
know
I need
people
leftovers
for
tomorrow.
sure. I know
Use
people
you.
for sure that are going out like, yeah, I don't really like him, but I'm gonna go out because it's a meal, it's a dinner, right?
She is one of them.
And this is the reason why they become a villain. That's their villain origin story.
The old
And they go
one.
treat the next one like trash, and now he don't want to pay for the dinner because the last one only came for the meal. And after that,
Or they feel like
both came.
but then on the other side of that, like I've heard guys say they feel like they doing all this investment for nothing, and I'm like, so what you're saying is you're buying me food to buy me.
Yes.
But how are you supposed to date at that point? I literally saw a tweet the other day that's like, dating with your guard up doesn't help anybody. Like, there's a balance to it. Yes, date with your guard up and protect yourself, and like, don't be too vulnerable off like the first 2 dates or something. But like, you gotta let that guard down at some point and be kinder to the person in front of you. Like, you can't. And before you go on a date with anybody, heal, please.
I was about to say, what is your intention for going on this date? Like you have like, I date
I go healed.
intentionally, right? So if I'm
Right.
dating in hopes of a future with somebody, I have the certain things that I want in that person, but I'm also going into that with the awareness that I am not perfect. And if I have things that I'm bringing here, whether intentional or not, whether healed or not, because things are healed until you get into a different person,
Right, I agree with
in
that.
somebody else's face, and it's like, oh shoot, I didn't even know that there was that part of me to heal, right? I feel like bringing that back to the surface of dating, and or just how we communicate and deal with people in general, like thinking about what do we want from this world and from these experiences that we're having and these conversations that we're having, for us to now go into situations better and do a better job at it. I feel like I lost a word or two in there, but y'all figure it out. I'm crying.
No, but like the whole, I guess this goes back to then, should there be a criteria before you start dating? Right? As a criteria for men and a criteria for women. Before you start dating and before you start multiplying the trashness, isn't there is there a criteria or checklist that you should do within yourself before going on dates? For example, finances on both sides. I once said that.
Do you know somebody's finances before you get there?
No, it's a self-reflection, not the
Oh, okay.
criteria for the guy. It's not the checklist.
Oh.
Everybody checklist
For yourself.
I'm talking about for
Oh,
yourself
I
before you start dating somebody. Should there be a criteria? Because
Yeah.
for me, I would think that in a society, and my ideal society, where men pay for the first date because they're asking you out first, they should have the proper finances
To afford to date.
to afford to date, whether that be a line item in your budget. And I feel like that should be on both sides, because after the first date, then it comes time, or first 1 or 2 dates, it comes time for the woman now to reciprocate. So now she needs to have a line item for dates, right? Then it should be
like an accountant.
your past baggage. Have you properly sort through it? At least a sorting of it. Because it takes a long time to heal, right? So you should at least know the main points of where things, were soft spots, right?
But that's the dating with intention. I think that's the most important part. And it's like, even just being self-aware when you date. And I think also nowadays everybody needs to have in their checklist, do I want to waste somebody's time? Yes or no?
Bro.
If you want to waste somebody's time, do not go anywhere. Just cut it.
But, okay, this is me being the devil's advocate, even though the devil don't need no advocate, is dating for fun and just going out there for experience.
You do learn a lot from
Do you now need
It goes both
to know
ways.
that,
Because
hey, I don't want to waste your time.
No, but as long as the
because
person.
I saw a post was like, hold on, wait. I just want, they were like, am I the asshole if I just go on a date just so I can get my experience of, and I don't like the guy? Then that's like that's the defense for women who's going out just for the meal.
But that's also something you learn once you're on the date. Like, I feel like prior to, you might have an idea of how you feel about that person, but until you sit down at the date, I feel like that's when you realize.
But what if you don't that you don't really
If you
like this
know
person?
prior
Like,
to,
you're
then that's
not-
a character
let's say,
choice.
For example, you're not attracted to this person, but you go on a date with them.
I've done that
My
before.
question for you with that is it that, like, how do I say this? Like, you absolutely know that there's no scenario in which you would ever go out with this person, or it's like, I'm not necessarily willing to settle down at this point in my life right now, but I'm open to the experience of dating and seeing what comes from it.
Let's play both sides. Let's say that
I'm just asking which one is, like, do you know which one
I'm
it
just
is?
asking questions. Like, I'm
I
saying,
feel like
let's play
the first one
Yeah.
is walk to me. The second, because I feel like in that case, if you know that person is genuinely interested in you, I just think it's hurtful.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
So if you know that there's never a chance in this lifetime or the next, then I think that's hurtful. But then I think in the first situation, that's a part of dating, like being open and honest and just figuring things out, because that's what we're here to do, get to know each other and figure things out. And I feel like as long as you're open with that with them,
Exactly.
then
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
nothing-
As long as you as long as there's a communication of intention both ways. Like, I've genuinely talked to a man and I've been like, I'm not really looking for anything right now, but we could go on a dates. We could go on whatever. But it's and he was like, I bet that's cool.
I want to love with somebody, but not with anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
Not love in that sense, but like have experiences.
Right.
Get out,
Yeah.
Understand what you want.
Interesting.
on that note, do we have a quote?
I have a quote.
Go ahead.
Life is a matter of courtship and wooing, flirting and chatting. By Caroline C.
Period. Basically, work needs to be done on both sides. women,
And
always
men
our
are
calm down a little.
have the same
Men,
conclusions
stop
every
WIDing her to death. Like, do something about
It's
it.
true. We always have to do something.
Everyone needs to do work.
Yeah.
Women are trash. It's the same thing every time.
I mean, it is. Until things change. So,
What is the gender, Rianne?
Man, the gem is give that man a number before you go on a date with him. I'm still waiting for the number from before. What was he?
Well, I'm not going on a date with him.
Well, we know that.
Crab legs is crazy.
Crab
He's
legs,
a zero.
what- was he a zero? Cute about.
Cuteness plus
Oh,
personality.
strictly.
is
No.
the
We
number.
talking strictly
This is why
face.
I don't like a range of
Strictly
people. I
face.
just say, am I attracted to them?
That's
Are
not
they a
ending
beautiful
the episode.
person? And I'm not.
This
interested.
is a subjective rating.
I am not attracted to
Your
this
7
person.
might not be my 7.
That's why I like to use the words, not the number.
No. That's why I need a number. I need you to understand. That's why I need a number. We can't end this episode till we get a number.
7.
Okay.
That's pretty high.
I would have went for the crab legs.
That's a
for
high
7.
number for you to not be attracted to somebody. Yeah.
Okay, then it's a 5.
I'm saying, like, what do you gotta cross the line?
That's
That's
what I'm like,
number.
okay, what is the range?
So, like, all right, so what's your word? What's your
Zero?
word? What word would you give him?
I'm not attracted
He
to
is a
you.
child of God.
I'm not attracted to you.
So no attraction equals no crab legs.
Oh my god.
That's the gem.
All right.
Sorry, King.
That's the title of this episode, No Crab Legs.
Oh god. Okay. Anyways, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Stay tuned as always, and be great.
See you next time. Like, comment, share, and share. Bye.
Bye.